Okay, this is not your Quarantiki. This is Star and Bamm on the road.
Hi.
We have light up drinks. Yay.
Tink.
Yeah, so we are drinking not at all the quality of Quarantiki. We are drinking, what is this? Dragon Fire Blueberry Moscato.
It's got swirlies.
It's got swirlies in it. Yeah, it's got the little glitter stuff in it. Isn't that cool? And they came with light ups, and I moved our light ups to our glasses. We have our Smuggler's Cove light up glasses.
Tink. And it tastes exactly how you would expect blue, sparkly, swirly booze to drink.
Yay!
Like.
So we're ready to enjoy Quarantiki with you all from remote. Bye!
So I'm not entirely flying solo this evening, but my barback is currently in the background. We are well behind the times. Because this evening, from 3 to 6, was the Tiki Trail. And so we went to the Tiki Trail Luau. When I say we, unfortunately, I do not mean my wife and I, because my wife is off doing a road trip in Indiana and Ohio without me. She is taking our friend Bamm off on this road trip, and they're having a wonderful time. Soon they're going to do butt drugs and a few other things. No, that's a drugstore called Butt Drugs.
They got butt drugs. They love butt drugs.
It's not like butt drugs. No, it's a different thing. Anyway, so from 3 to 6, we were at the Luau for the Tiki Trail. And by we, I mean myself and my special guest star, who is helping me this evening and is currently walking in behind me, which is Amanda, who has, holy crap, a whole bunch of crushed ice. Can I have the rest of the ice? Because I will need some crushed ice, some regular ice in order to do these cocktails. So, the way the Tiki Trail Luau works out is if you've completed the Tiki Trail and get to the Luau, you have a fair number of drink tickets to expend, and various bars that have been part of the Tiki Trail bring punches, and you get to drink those punches. And as we get further into the evening, they don't care so much about your drink tickets. So as a consequence, I'm a little hammered, and so I was a little hammered before I even tried to do this show. So we're going to try this. I've got cocktails up here in front of me, and we're going to try and give them an appropriate go. I'm not sure how well this will work, but we shall see. But I have to say, so first of all, Amanda, thank you very much for accompanying me to the Tiki Trail. Thank you very much for crushing ice while I was trying to get things started. Would you do me the favor of reaching over to the shelf on the far right in the middle and grabbing grabbing one of those exceptional cask series from Foursquare. Reach in, grab whatever one. I don't care what it is, just grab one. What have we got? We've got the Sagacity. Okay, so this is 48% alcohol, ex-bourbon, ex-Madeira cask, aged for 12 years. And this is what we are going to use to toast this evening. The Barbados rums are some of the best rums that I have. The Exceptional Cask series from Foursquare is phenomenal. Very rarely has there been a miss. And as a consequence, it makes an exceptional rum for toasting, and we have an event that we need to toast. It's a little melancholy, and I'm sure you understand, for any of you that happen to be United States citizens or just members of the United States in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure you understand the importance of today. Today is 9/11. So we are 2022, so that was 21 years ago that 2 planes went into the World Trade Center, and a plane went into the Pentagon, and a plane was downed ostensibly by the passengers in Pennsylvania, and our world changed. Suddenly we were, in fact, vulnerable. And so what I want to do is, Amanda, here is a toast for you. This is a glass of the Foursquare Sagacity. And here is a toast, not only to those that lost their lives, but those that went out of their way to save lives, and the unity that that horrific event brought to the United States. May we find some way of achieving that level of humanity and connectedness without such a horrific event occurring.
Agreed.
Because we have moved in a direction that we don't like, right? In terms of, you know, if you compare the unity that we had on that day versus where we are today,
Right.
yeah, today is different. We don't want to be back to that day, but we would like to have that level of understanding. So here,
Yes.
a toast
Cheers.
to all of those on 9/11.
To our service members, to the firefighters, and
to those that tried to make sense of that really strange day, and to all of those that have lost their lives since that time, fighting in whatever way to rectify those events in whatever way they could. So the Sagacity 2000, and I don't know. This is going to be a weird evening because I'm a lot more intoxicated than I usually am when I'm doing this broadcast. As I tried to set up for the broadcast, I tripped over the tripod. I took down the tripod that had the camera on it. I took down the tripod that had the recipes on it. I took my computer off the table. Everything went flying 5 minutes before broadcast. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a mess. I have no idea whether or not we actually have anybody watching, but hopefully we do. To all of my friends from the Tiki Trail that we've met, that we talked over, so hopefully you're as intoxicated as I am and enjoying this as much as possible. So I'm going to take a sip here. So first of all, if you are a bourbon drinker, the Barbados Foursquare Exceptional Cask Series is probably the closest rum that you will get to a bourbon in its flavor profiles. Secondly, the Sagacity is an excellent example of the exceptional casks. And third, this week I had a chance to sample the Sovereignty, which I somehow missed when the Sovereignty came out, the exceptional cask series named Sovereignty. And I gotta say, as a political scientist at heart and in training, it pains me that a rum named after the concept of sovereignty is not in my collection. So I'm going to have to remedy that at some point. Now the Sovereignty is like 64%, something along those lines. It's pretty high in alcohol. It's not quite cask strength, but it's a little rough in places. This is not. The Sagacity, like I said, is only 48%, something like that. Is that right? I remember? Hey, I'm remembering right. 48%, and is a lot more smooth in some places than the Sovereignty. But I definitely need to add the Sovereignty to my collection. Thank you, Brooke and Andrea, for sharing that with me. Okay, so let's dive into it and talk about cocktails. So I'm going to do 2 cocktails that are Tiki Trail related, and then I'm going to do a third cocktail, which is my guest audience related. Apparently, I guess we turned you on to the shaker and spoon boxes, and she's been continuing to do those. And so there is an so this month, the shaker and spoon boxes are centered around Italicus. And unfortunately, Italicus seems to be in short supply in the area, so we are in fact going to do one of the drinks from that shaker and spoon box called Just Peachy. That will be our final drink for this evening. The first 2 drinks are in some way or another inspired by the Tiki Trail Luau that occurred this evening. Again, 3 to 6, a bunch of Tiki fanatics getting together and drinking and eating, I was going to say eating alcohol. No, eating food at a Hawaiian-themed restaurant in the Navy Yard area. So the first thing that we're going to do is, I have to say that they did a raffle for prizes, and there were all sorts of good prizes. There was, some Pusser's rum, and there was some mezcal that was, there was a grizzly cooler filled with all sorts of things in it. You could have won all of that, but we won the first prize of the evening. What we won was a bottle of Old Forester, dun dun dun, right there, Old Forester bourbon, and a hat that says Old Forester on it. So I now have a baseball hat that says a brand of bourbon on it, and we also got a pin that says Campari, which the Campari pin is actually particularly useful to me because I do a lot of things with Campari around here. But we're going to do a tiki drink using Old Forester. Now, Old Forester is traditionally considered a nice sipping bourbon as opposed to a cocktail bourbon, but what the hell? It's a free bottle. We're going to make cocktails out of it. And the cocktail that we're going to do this evening is the Port Light. So the Port Light was originated at the Kahiki restaurant and bar in 1961, thereabouts, in Ohio, somewhere in Columbus, Ohio. And since my wife is currently traipsing around Ohio, I thought this was a particularly appropriate thing. Now here's the problem. The Port Light requires passion fruit syrup. And there was a lot of passion fruit or passion fruit syrups that were used this evening at the Tiki Trail Luau. My passion fruit syrup went bad, so I don't actually have any passion fruit syrup. Oh no, and I did not have enough time to put some together because, well, the event ended at 6. We started at 7:30. We had to get in from the district, yada, yada, yada. I'm mildly intoxicated, so this wasn't going to happen. In any case, so what are we going to do if we don't have passion fruit syrup? We're going to reach for our bottle of yuzu. I have some yuzu syrup, and we're going to do that. So the yuzu syrup is a citrusy syrup from the yuzu fruit. And you know, when I don't have passion fruit syrup, this is what I use in place of it. And the flavor profiles are not similar to one another, but they're evocative of that same sense of tartness and fruitiness. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use the yuzu syrup instead of passion fruit syrup. We are going to use grenadine, because grenadine was called for, and we're going to use the home grenadine. So the home grenadine is a mixture of homemade pomegranate juice syrup and there's a store-bought grenadine, Jack Ruby, John Ruby, Jack Ruby, whatever, grenadine, and then I put some pomegranate juice in here. So that's what this is. That's the pomegranate. There's going to be some lemon juice. Right, lemon juice. Lemon juice, got it. Okay, got some lemon juice, and then bourbon. Okay, so we got all of the ingredients to do the Port Light. After we do the Port Light, we're going to do something completely different. And the something completely different is, in fact, a cocktail that was served at the Tiki Trail Luau that involves some lime leaf syrup. So we're going to have to substitute my kefir lime leaf syrup. It has lemon juice in it. It has passion fruit liqueur, which they use Sinaloa. We're going to use the Pasola, and then it uses mezcal. And unfortunately, my Pasola and my mezcal are in the back room. So I'm going to have to fetch those at some point. So I'm going to bring Amanda up here to do a song and dance while I go and do that sort of thing. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do the Port Light. All right, so Port Light, what does the Port Light have? It has a half ounce of passion fruit syrup. This is a blended drink. So we are going to go reach over and we are going to grab one of our blender tins. By blender drink, I mean spindle blender drink. That is almost always in the case of tiki drinks, when they say blended drink, they mean spindle blender, not, wait, I usually have my normal blender out here, but I don't. I have my spindle blender out here. If you're going to do tiki, you want to be serious about tiki, you need a spindle blender. Yes, you do. You trust me on this one, you do. Anyway, what are we going to do? We're going to do the sweet components first, because that's the way I like to roll on these. So sweet components, why do I do the sweet components? Generally, they're your sweeter components, so you're not spending a lot of money if you screw up your cocktail early on, because most of the time you're making your own sweet components, various syrups. Secondly, The sweet components tend to have a thicker viscosity, and what I want to do is get all of that ingredient out of my jigger, and so I will usually go from the sweet component to the sour component, which is usually citrus, which will clear out my jigger for me. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the thickest and most viscous of the ingredients, and that is yuzu syrup. Did I make this? No. I bought this online. This is Monen's yuzu syrup. And, well, I gotta say, if you are a fan of the yuzu flavoring cocktails, this is a great way to do this. The reason I have yuzu syrup on hand is because I went to Signature Thai with my wife probably a year ago, and they made a cocktail using yuzu syrup, and I went, wow, this is yummy, I need to be able to make this thing. And I've never been able to make it as well as they made it, despite the fact that I have much better rums on hand than they do. Okay, second ingredient. So we've got 1/2 ounce of the passion fruit syrup. We're going to do 1/4 ounce of grenadine. So 1/4 ounce. I need a different shaker. Sorry, folks. I need a different jigger because that one doesn't have 1/4 ounce markings on it. 1/4 ounce markings. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, look, you're putting like 10 or 12 ingredients in a cocktail and it's tiki drinks, and tiki drinks are like awfully sweet and stuff. So why are you bothering to be so persnickety about your measurements? I'm being so persnickety about my measurements and using a jigger for every one and not just doing the, I think that's about 1/4 ounce, or like, glug, glug, glug. Oh, I think that's about 2 ounces. Because if you're making a tiki cocktail, it's a craft cocktail. And if you're putting 10 or 11 ingredients in a cocktail together, you need to be careful about the proportions that are going into that cocktail. So far from, oh, it's just tiki, relax, man, I get really particular about using the right jigger and making sure that the right amount of ingredients go into these cocktails in order to make sure that they are particularly balanced. That is all going to go completely out the window when we make our second cocktail, because all I have is an ingredients list. I have no idea of the measurements, so I'm just gonna wing it. All right, so we've got the passion fruit syrup, we've got the grenadine, we need lemon juice. So here is a bottle of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I know it says Better Truth on it, it's wrong. It's lemon juice, I know, because I squeezed it just a few minutes ago. Fortunately, I squeezed it before I tried pulling one of the drawers out of the cabinet over here, and it fell into my arms and I cut myself on it. So yeah, it's been a day, okay? No, it's been a great day up until about 7:15 or so, and then things all went to heck. Okay, heck. I said heck. See, isn't that great? All right, so a full ounce, right? Double check. Full ounce, yeah, full ounce of lemon juice. You could tell I'm like, really? A full ounce of lemon juice of citrus sour? That seems like excessive. Yes, yeah. So it's not excessive. But next up, the last ingredient is bourbon. And what we have is a bottle of Old Forester that we won this evening at the raffle. This is 100 proof whiskey, and we're going to go bourbon specifically. And we are going to do 1.5 ounces of this 100 proof bourbon into our shaker here. Shaker, blender tin. Wow, 3/4. Insert obligatory recommendation to teach your kids fractions so they know how to create 1.25 ounces. Because sometimes your jigger doesn't go to 1.5 ounces, and so you actually need to be able to do math with fractions in order to get the right amount in here. All right, that's it. We've got the grenadine. We've got, in this case, the yuzu syrup instead of the passion fruit syrup. We've got lemon juice, and we've got bourbon. That's all that goes in here, other than 8 ounces of crushed ice. And thank you, Amanda, for providing me with a whole bunch of crushed ice.
You're welcome.
So basically a full scoop of crushed ice goes in here. Bar mats are your friend because you can throw stuff everywhere and it just goes on the bar mat. It's all great. Okay, here we go. We're going to flash blend this, so 5, 6, 7 seconds, something like that. There we go. That's somewhere between 5 and 7 seconds. I should probably grab a paper towel. I'm having a lot of fun doing this because I'm not being particularly sensitive to how this broadcast comes out because, well, I'm intoxicated, so deal with that. All right, so this drink is going to go unstrained into a glass of some sort, whatever sort you would like. I think that what this glass needs is, dun dun dun, one of those, one of our goblets, one of our, I don't know, I don't remember, snifter, that's the word I was looking for. Holy crap. Whew, it's a fun evening, folks. The drinks were good, the drinks were plentiful, and I took them up on that. It didn't help when various individuals, so look, as a consequence of doing the Tiki Trail and being relatively known in the local Tiki environment, we know the bartenders at the various Tiki restaurants, and so it's like, oh, I only have like one drink ticket left, and they're like, sure, have a drink. And I'm like, okay. So I think I actually came home with drink tickets, which is kind of surprising. This is a port light. We're going to stick a straw in that, and we are going to drink from that. So what kind of straw should we use for this? Hey, Amanda, should we use, I don't know, a glass straw from Southside Sips. Surfside Sips. Yes, we should.
Yes.
We love Surfside Sips. They are awesome. They make great straws. They make great videos about making straws. And so this is your port light with a Surfside Sip straw in it. And I'm going to reach in and use a different Surfside Sip straw to take a sip out of this. Not that bad. All right. That actually tastes remarkably like what a port light should taste like.
All right.
The yuzu is really interesting in there as opposed to the passion fruit, because the passion fruit is a lot tartar than the yuzu. Mm-hmm. I know you have a sweeter tongue than I do.
Yes.
I think you're going to really like this cocktail,
Okay,
even though it is bourbon based, and that straw is a clean straw, so you can have as much of that as you want.
Ah, yes, definitely very sweet.
Very
tart. Maybe I just had a drink of my bourbon.
Of the bourbon?
I'm sorry. The sagacity.
Oh, the
sorry.
sagacity, right?
So I
Where's
think
my
that's
sagacity?
coating a little bit, but
What do you think? You could
I
drink
like
that.
it. Yes.
You can drink that.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
not a
drinking
problem.
this
Yep.
one. Yes.
So, all right. So once again, you know, it doesn't really matter who's here with me. Whatever the first drink is that I make, I don't get a taste of other than that first taste in order to go, yeah, that's about what it should taste like. Oh, wait, and then it goes away. So, yeah. That's par for the course here, people. That's how this TV show.
I'm a
oh my God,
for star,
that's how this thing works. Oh my goodness. You know what this is? This over here, this glass right here. You know what this is? This is water. I should be drinking some water. We're gonna do that right now.
the next one you can have. I mean, I'll taste it to see if it's different than what we had at the Tiki Trail, but.
So Amanda, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience?
Yes.
Because as I recall,
Yes.
what have I got on here?
Because you said
Okay.
you want me to.
I need to actually go
Yes.
grab some syrup from the back room, and I need to go grab the passion fruit liqueur, and I need to go grab some mezcal. So I need to basically grab all the ingredients for this cocktail. So I'm going to leave you in the fair hands of Amanda. Hopefully you can hear Amanda. Neither of us can see comments.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
No. I tried and.
So I would like to point out, like, I'm injured here, and I caught the
the drawer.
tripod,
Yeah, the
as it
tripod.
came down
Yeah.
here. So I'm like battered and bruised and intoxicated. So this, if you're one of the folks I met at the Tiki Trail Luau and you're signing in and looking at this going, what the heck is going on? This is not typical of the usual broadcasts. It may be more amusing than our usual broadcasts. I mean, I don't know, but you might enjoy this. I'm going to go to the back room.
Okay.
I'm going to find stuff. I'm going to bring them out, and then we're going to make a drink called something completely different, which was one of the drinks that was done by McClellan's Retreat.
Yes.
And I only have the ingredients. I don't have proportions, so this is my best guess at what those
I'll
might
try
think.
it.
So we'll see.
All right. So I'll try to give a little preview.
This is great. Amanda will try, and It's so sad. She is my Padawan when it comes to tiki, and she will try pretty much anything I put in front of her, regardless of whether or not I've tasted
gotta
it
try
ahead of
everything
time.
once,
So
right?
yeah,
You gotta
it's
try
really
everything once.
interesting. All right, so you
yeah,
talk to
that's
the
what's
studio
up.
audience.
Will do.
Me, I'm going to go into the back and try and remove the cats that are probably in the background
Right.
anyway. So, yeah. All right.
So I will just talk about that. I got introduced to mezcal last year as part of the COVID training that I started
mezcal.
taking, with based on Star and Pooch's
I mezcal.
recommendations to
I need
they recommended me. They got me onto Museum of Distilled Spirits, and I basically started taking all of the liquor classes, because prior to that I'd been mainly a wine drinker, occasionally drinking bar drinks at cocktails or clubs or whatever, but mainly a wine drinker. So got involved, took one of the tequila classes, and that's when I learned about this other thing called mezcal. I'd never had mezcal before, and everything so far that I've tried with mezcal, just it makes me think of barbecue. I get that smoke flavor and varying levels of smoke on mezcal. But I just always just automatically think ash, smokiness, barbecue, the wafts of it reminds me of, my dad when he, does a charcoal grill. That's evokes that feeling, those smells, and even those tastes. So maybe I'll save the actual comment for the something completely different that we had at the Tiki Trail, which involved mezcal, but I definitely literally just felt I was eating barbecue, like a liquefied pork rib, essentially, that it was a liquefied pork rib smoothie that I was pretty much drinking. Very interesting. I mean, it's hard for me to say like I didn't like it or I liked it. It was just, I'd already eaten, and I really felt that it was a really heavy mouthfeel, and it tasted almost like like I said, a liquefied version of pork ribs, which and with the pineapple glaze, like that. That's how very distinct the taste was. That I just felt like I was just having a slip off the bone type of meat pork rib. So
two out of three ain't bad. I found
Right.
two of the ingredients I need. I need to go back in and
One
find
more.
the third, right?
Yes. So that's it. So unfortunately, I wish I could see comments and such to ask, but again, I'm always grateful for Star and Pooch for allowing me to be here, and for getting me on to Shaker and Spoon. And I guess I should actually go back and talk about my first foray into cocktail making. Was what got me into cocktails was, again, during COVID, my realtor set up a virtual cocktail making class. They basically said, go to this website, look at the syrups. They're going to give us the syrups. They sent us a branded cocktail shaker, and it was by Pratt Standard syrups, and it was a representative for Pratt Standard, and basically it just didn't matter what syrups anyone got. They were going to show us how to make 3 different drinks with our syrups, and then so they kind of obviously made we had an old fashioned, we had I can't remember. It was 2 years ago, so I can't remember. But yeah, so we had like 3 different cocktails with all the different syrups, and they just talked about how how to do things. So that's what got me into cocktail making, and then obviously wanted to look to experts, local experts, or friends that I knew that I trusted to help me on that journey, and that's how I got involved with the cocktail making with Star and Pooch. I'd already known them before from gaming and everything, but it was I'm really grateful for you for the journey.
I'm an enabler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, you ready?
I am ready.
Done. Thank you.
We're good. We're good. All right. So this cocktail. So this cocktail comes to us from McClellan's Retreat, and it was actually one of the cocktails that we didn't try while we were at McClellan's Retreat. So I was happy to give this a shot. So it is a mezcal-based cocktail, and I think Amanda was just talking to you about it. The way I don't know if it was just her when she said, "Oh, this tastes like pineapple glaze on pork ribs," and I was like, I can no longer taste anything but pineapple glaze on pork ribs. And as it went on, as it got more diluted, all I tasted was passion fruit. So passion fruit liqueur. So the passion fruit liqueur really sort of took over this cocktail. Again, I don't have measurements for it, but we're going to give it a try. Let me rinse out these jiggers, because look at this. I have the best wife in the world that for my birthday bought me one of these rinsers on the sink. So all I have to do is shove a bottle down or a jigger or a glass, and it just sprays water into it, and it's great. Don't hold down the thing and not have a glass on it, because otherwise it sprays water all over the place, and you really don't need an impromptu shower like that. Okay, so what are we going to do? I'm going to assume that this cocktail is shaken. It was made into a punch at the Tiki Trail Luau, so we don't really know how it was combined. I'm going to go with a shaken cocktail with cubed ice, and we're just going to see how that goes. So I'm going to shake it, and I am going to use this Tiki shaker, cocktail shaker. And why am I using this one? I'm using this one in particular because it's a shout out to Tiny Tiki. When we first went to Tiny Tiki, we saw this shaker that has, it's metal, but it has etched into it and inked with black all of these various tiki icons on it. And there's palm trees and turtles and pineapples and masks and everything. And said, oh, I have to have this. And all I could find was like either the small portion or the large portion. I couldn't find the combined set. And of course my wife could, because her Google Foo is phenomenal. So I now have one of these. So we're going to use it because I love it. I think it's great. It's awesome. So the first thing is, they use a lime leaf syrup, which uses a different lime leaf syrup than what I use. I use the kaffir lime leaf, which is traditionally used in Thai food dishes. And when I was talking with them, they said, yeah, that's close enough. That's kind of what we use anyway. So go forth and use that. And so that's what I have here. So we're going to do half an ounce. Again, these are my guesses at proportions. So if this drink is nasty as all get out, it's probably because my proportions are wrong and not because the ingredients are wrong. Although, I will say, I don't have the same ingredients that they were using. So, yeah. So the syrup is different because it's a kaffir lime leaf as opposed to it wasn't meerkat, whatever the lime leaf was that they were using, but it wasn't the same as, right? So we need another full ounce of lemon juice. God, what is with a full ounce of lemon juice? These cocktails are insane. I usually find a full ounce of lemon juice to be sort of overpowering cocktails, but we're not going to worry about that because we're going to try this. 1 sour, 2 sweet, right? So that's 1 sour, 2 sweet. Now those proportions are off, but we're going to try it anyway. Okay. Next up, half ounce of a passion fruit liqueur. Now they use Sinaloa. And Sinaloa provided a certain, when I asked them about the mouthfeel, because it was a very viscous, heavy mouthfeel to it, they said, oh, that's the Sinaloa passion fruit liqueur. I'm like, okay, I don't have the Sinaloa passion fruit liqueur, and maybe I'll win it in the raffle. I didn't, sadly. Otherwise, we would have been making this with the Sinaloa. But I do have the Pasola, which is also, let me see this, made with real passion fruit, the passion drink. It is a passion fruit liqueur. So we're going to use that instead. So we're going to go with a half ounce of the passion fruit liqueur. Have I mentioned that I really hate the fact that I'm getting older and I have to have progressive lenses, because this allows me to see the camera, it allows me to see the screen, it allows me to see the drink recipes, but when I'm doing work up close, it's like, where's that line? I can't tell. So, yeah. So half the time I'm like, oh, I want to take the glasses off so I can see what I'm doing, and then I look up at the board and go, what is that? I can't tell. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. The mezcal that they used was the La Vida. It was Del Maguey. Del Maguey. Mezcal. And they make several mezcals. And we know, if you've been watching this for a while, that my dear wife really likes mezcals from Matalan district. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go with that, which is Matalan, Oaxaca. That's the Italian pronunciation of a Spanish word, Oaxaca, or the intoxicated Italian pronunciation, Oaxaca. But we're going to use the Peloton de la Muerte, which is basically gang of dead people, is what this translates to in Spanish, right? We're going to do 1.5 ounces. So we are going to do 3/4 of an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce. Because for those of you that are fractionally challenged, 3/4 of an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce is 6/4 of an ounce, which simplifies down to 1.5 ounces. Stay in school, do your fractions, because you need it in order to make cocktails, okay? So there we have it. This is what I'm going off of is a base daiquiri recipe, right? We've got the sweet, we've got the sour, and we've got some alcohol in it. And I'm just playing around with the proportions just a little bit because I know the passion fruit liqueur is both tart and sweet, and backing off the mezcal a little bit so it's not a full 2 ounces. And we'll see how this goes. I'm going to actually stick a straw in here to start with. I'm going to swirl this around and make sure this isn't just like wildly out of balance, which it might be. Nope, not wildly out of balance, but it tastes nothing like the drink that was made by McClelland's. So we'll see what this does, because I'm sure that Amanda is looking forward to trying this. My goal is to make sure that she likes this drink better than she likes the one from McClelland's Retreat. And if I'm successful, great, awesome. If I'm not, well, screw it. All right, we're going to shake this up. Once again, so one thing I noticed at the Tiki Trail is that a lot of the bartenders at the various restaurants and bars were doing the I need to lock this into place. I need to make sure that this is a full seal, pound on it. Like, you don't need to do that. So you set this in here so that it is seated okay, reasonably tight, and you're going to let the cold do the rest of the work here. The cold is going to take, once again, stay in school, because you learn from chemistry the basic law of gases. And essentially what's going to happen here is as the gases get colder, the oxygen that's in here, or the atmosphere that's in here, as it gets colder, it will contract. And it will pull the two pieces of this together, and it will form a seal for you. So you don't have to worry too much about, oh, let me make sure that there's two metal pieces. You do that, and you're going to bend your pieces, and it's just a pain in the neck to get them undone. And I'm going to try and do this with a pinky that has got a big old cut on it. But so far, I've managed to miss getting lemon juice on that cut, so that's good. Hey, you know what I can do? I can shake this and drink water at the same time. Which is good for me and not necessarily good for the cocktail. Look at that. That just came right apart. There was no need for me to smack it, do anything else to it. And look, I did not spill the cocktail all over me. The only time I've actually spilled the cocktail all over me was when I was doing a dry shake with a cocktail. And what happens in a dry shake is you don't have the cold, and the egg foam actually expands. So it's trying to push the two pieces out. And so I went shake, 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 and it went boom! And I went, hi, it'll be a little time before you get your cocktail because I'm going to go upstairs and change. So in any case, here we go. This is my version of McClelland's Retreat's something completely different. And I need a glass for this. Let's, when you don't know what this drink should be in, go with a Mai Tai glass, because why not, right? I'm going to put a little crushed ice in here. I would normally put this over cubed ice, but I don't have any more. Cause. And then we're going to, we're gonna, what's the word?
Strain.
Strain. I'm gonna strain this.
But the color is definitely different.
Color is very different. This looks much more like the Hurricane, which you didn't like. And I had a couple of other people that I talked to that didn't particularly care for the Hurricane from Tiki on 18th?
I think so.
I think so. Tiki on 18th used a Ray and Nephew for the rum for that, and they made a homemade Fashionella, which always in favor of making your drinks homemade, you're making your...
I didn't even realize that was a hurricane, and I love hurricanes.
Yeah, she loves hurricane. She didn't recognize it as hurricane. So that's not such a good idea. That doesn't mean that Tiki on 18th doesn't make good cocktails, because they do. They make... Rico, you do a really good job. Rico could not be at the Luau because Rico is often in St. Louis doing Gin World, which is pretty freaking awesome. He has like Gin for Life as a tattoo on his arm. So, yeah, do I go to the Luau or do I go to Gin World? Duh.
All right, wait.
Yeah, that's totally different. Tastes nothing like pineapple glaze.
Oh, this is better.
Just because you don't like pineapple glaze on your
No,
pork
I
chops.
do, I do.
Right?
But it's just
she
not
just
in a
doesn't
drink.
want it in a drink. So there you go. There's my variation on something completely different from McClellan's Retreat. And it is. Not only is it different from the drink known as something completely different, but it is different from McClellan's Retreat's version of something completely different. Does that make sense? It's not just something completely different. It's different from the thing that they call something completely different. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a pretty tasty drink.
That one is.
Do you want me to, do you want to bring one of those two drinks back up?
Yeah,
Do you
I
have a
think
preference?
You can, yeah, 'cause I'm going to still drink the other one, so you can keep this one.
Oh, I can drink this something completely
Yes,
different.
you can.
So you still like the Port Light better?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna stick a straw in here, and we're gonna sip down on this. What time is it anyway? It is. Why does this always happen? We hit 8:15, and I have one cocktail remaining to do. So at least I'm consistent with my chatter and banter that we are always down to the last 15 minutes for the one last cocktail. So when we were discussing, Amanda and I were discussing getting together and maybe going to the Tiki Trail Luau, one of the things she mentioned to me was that she had received her new shaker and spoon box. And I'm like, oh, great. Well, cool. That's nifty. Glad we could introduce you to shaker and spoon, which is a great way of learning about different alcohols and different things you can do with them, especially if you are of an experimental mind and you don't mind going, yeah, I never had need to have that again. But, sometimes you go, ooh, that's really good. Or, what if I added this to that? And suddenly, it's an amazing cocktail. Shaker and Spoon sends you drink recipes, usually 3, I think it is, and enough ingredients to make 4 of those cocktails.
Each of them, yep.
Of each of the cocktails. So that's 12 cocktails minus the booze. That's the only thing they don't include. But they do include a list of boozes for you to use. So if they say, this is the whiskey box, they're not just like, go buy a bottle of whiskey. They'll have recommended whiskeys, that sort of thing. This one was a little different in that they had a very specific alcohol in mind. So this box is devoted to... I know I pulled it out.
Yes, you're looking in the right place.
There it is. Blue bottle, not blue liquor, Italicus. And again, if you've been a long time watcher, you'd know that I've used Italicus in a lot of things, and I really like Italicus. But I've tried to use it successfully in sort of tiki cocktails, and sometimes it works, sometimes not so much. I have a Mai Tai variation that instead of the orange curacao uses Italicus because the bergamot is a form of orange, and it's okay. It needs some playing around with it, but this entire shaker and spoon box is devoted to Italicus. Italicus is the main ingredient. Italicus, doesn't that sound like a supervillain? Like an Italian supervillain. I am Italicus, I shall crush you. Something along those lines. I don't know why I just lapsed into Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Arnold Schwarzenegger and Italicus, yeah, I shall smash you into little tiny superhero bits. I've been watching way too many movies that have superhero bits in them. I watched the latest Stallone movie, Samaritan, and yes, the plot twist that you think they might do at the end of the movie, yeah, they do it. Yeah, yes, absolutely. It's is it really a plot twist if everyone that's ever read any comic book goes, oh yeah, I know what's going to happen. I'm not sure it is, but for those that haven't read comic books, you're like, whoa, that's an amazing, oh my God, what a revelation. You're like, yeah, really? I don't know. I saw that coming a mile away. But anyway, So this last drink, we don't, actually we do know how this drink is made. This drink is generally made, supposedly made, stirred in a glass. So everything just gets combined in the glass. So this would be something along the lines of an Aperol Spritz or something along those lines, where it's just all combined in the drink. You're not shaking it, you're not blending it, you're just stirring it around in the cocktail glass. And so that's what we're going to do. But instead of using what you would usually use for like an Aperol Spritz, which would be a wine glass, we're going to use yet another one of these wonderful sniffer things that we have here. As long as I can find them, I have to reach back in here. Which one is this? I don't know. I can't see because it's all dark down here. What is this? This is one of the goblets we got from the 2022 Inuhele, which is very cool. Amanda actually went with us to that particular tiki convention. It was her first tiki convention. It was our first tiki convention. I think all three of us are signed up to go next year, January. So we're looking forward to that. Way too many things at work that I need to get through before I can even think about taking a break in January to go to Inuhele. But I'm going to have so much fun going to Inuhele later this year. All right. What are we doing? We have...
Are you going to make two or just the one?
I'm just going to make the one because between the two of us, whew,
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Worst case scenario, we'll take a sip out of it. We both like it. We'll split it. We'll split it into two glasses.
Yes,
And we'll have
perfect.
We'll have a fine time. So the first thing that's up here to make this cocktail, you need the shaker and spoon box. Why do you need the shaker and spoon box? Because the first ingredient in here is peach lavender syrup. I don't know about you. I don't keep peach lavender syrup on hand. I have no idea what the balance of peach and lavender is, but note of caution, if you're going to plan on doing this sort of thing by yourself, lavender is really strong. Do not overemphasize the lavender. I have a spritz bottle of grapefruit lavender oil here that is really strong on the lavender. I use this for lighting things on fire. I don't use it for the lavender scent because just even a spritz in the glass and it's like boom, lavender. And I'd rather have the boom flames, which by the way, thank you very much for Tiny Tiki for doing flames today at the Tiki Trail. Although maybe doing flames with cheap plastic glasses was not the best intent. So he would light things on fire and he'd squirt the oil and it would cause it to go whoosh, 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 flame, and then he'd be very quickly like, blow that out so it doesn't melt your glass. There were many glasses melted today, so just saying. Ow, ow. So there's a phrase when people get intoxicated called feeling no pain. Clearly, I'm not at that point or I'm wavering left and right at that point because sometimes, this cut doesn't feel anything at all, and other times it's like, hey, that begins to hurt. I should drink more, right? So, I could try just sticking in here. Oh, with ice. Oh, the ice feels really nice on that. And it's not tart enough to where the sour component, like the citrus, is causing that to hurt. So that's really good. That feels actually really nice. I'm not sure what the blood is going to do to the cocktail, but it'll be fine. We're fine. We're okay. I only have to be at work by like 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. It'll be fine. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is 3/4 ounce of a peach lavender syrup. So, like I said, shaker and spoon gives you enough to make 4 of these cocktails. So here is a bottle of their peach lavender syrup. What does it say? It says this is batch number 2, made by Shaker and Spoon, and gives its address. Thanks. I can't even blame Bob or Frank or whatever. Ingredients: filtered water. Great, thanks. Beet or cane sugar, i.e. sugar, whatever happened to be on hand at the time. Dried lavender and citric acid. Oh, and peaches. What they do, just drop whole peaches in it? I have no idea. Sounds to me like that's just an infusion of peach into this, into a simple syrup. with a little bit of dried lavender and then some citric juice, primarily probably as a preservative. Don't know for sure, but we're going to go 3/4 of an ounce. I am going to spin it in the box, so it may have settled a little bit. Then we're going to do syrup. I get syrup, a hint of peach, not much lavender off of that, which is good because you don't, like I said, lavender can take over a cocktail really easily. If this doesn't have enough lavender in it, we will do a spritz of the grapefruit lavender syrup around this, and it'll be fine. I actually found that one of the things that works for really powerful spritzes is to not put them in the glass or over the drink, is actually to spritz them along the base of the drink, and then you get the olfactory component of that without it being completely overpowering. 2 ounces Italicus. Dun dun dun. Italicus, fetch me his head. Yeah, Italicus is such a great word. Unfortunately, if you were to use this in like a role-playing game, Italicus approaches you. It's like the bottle or what? Yeah. So that what? What is approaching me? This bergamot flavored liqueur? What? I don't know. So okay, 2 ounces there, and this is it's only 20% alcohol. So this is going to be a really, really light drink. Because that's it. There's nothing else adding to the potency of this cocktail aside from some Prosecco, which, you know, whatever. Do you want me to use your club soda? Do you want me to open that bottle of club soda? Okay, yes, all right. So there's going to be some Prosecco in here and there's some club soda in here. So we're going to add the club soda at the end because the club soda will, in fact, like overflow this drink if you stir it. So
actually, do you have some? Because I just realized about capping it for later. So do you have some handy, or we can still use mine?
I do.
Okay.
I can.
Okay, we are still live. He's coming back.
She's dancing for you. Great. So what we have here is a bottle of water that has had CO2 injected into it via soda stream. And every once in a while, I don't use a whole lot of this, but every once in a while I do. And having a soda stream in the back is great because I can just stick it under there and bring it back up, and it's fine. I just added a little more to this thing, so that's why there wasn't pressure built up there, but it's fine. All right, so we're going to use that. But before we do that, we need some Prosecco, and we need 2 ounces of Prosecco, and we need some ice. What's the rule? Open the bottle beforehand, you moron. All right, so we're gonna, there we go. Ta-da. 2 ounces of Prosecco. Jigger. Pour down the side, otherwise it'll foam up and it'll make it really hard to get an accurate measure. You can hear this foaming. What else did I watch? I watched Samaritan. I watched The Protégé. That was quite good with Maggie Q and Samuel L. Jackson and Michael Keaton. That was a lot of fun. If you happen to like that whole series of movies that was kind of ushered in by John Wick about professional assassins, this one was quite good. I thought it was actually better than what was the one Milkshake. Last word in the title is Milkshake. Female assassin. They're librarians. I don't remember.
I don't remember that one.
It's a good movie, but it was fun. Whatever. All right, we're gonna do. It says use cubed ice. I have a lack of cubed ice at the moment. We have a bunch of crushed ice, so we're gonna go there. Put that in there, and then we're going to give this a swizzle. A swizzle. I have many swizzly things that I could use here. So we're just going to take a little swizzle stick here and we're going to stir this around. I know this is one of my mezcal swirly sticks that we got from, I think it's Buho. Yeah, mezcal, but that's all right. So you're just going to stir this. Stir that. Yep, there you go. Then we're going to add 1.5 ounces of club soda. This really impresses me as being a spritz. Really does. Okay. There. Just little bubbles. Prosecco and club soda. Doesn't that sound like a spritz to you? Sounds like a spritz to me. One more swirl.
The box is called Putting on the Spritz.
Is that what the box is called? Putting on the spritz?
Yep.
Okay. So apparently they believe that what you should do with Italicas is make spritzes with it. I'm okay with that, but it's hard to marry spritz with powerful Jamaican rum, which is kind of what I like doing. All right, so this is the base cocktail, except that there's an ingredient that is missing from here. There it is. Apparently, what you were supposed to garnish this with is a dehydrated peach slice. So, and those come in the box, right? Or in the bag in the box. So that's just going to go right in there, just like that. It says stirred in glass. We've done that. I'm going to reach over and grab another straw and take a sip of this before we go on. Do this. Putting on the spritz. Is that what you said? Okay. Oh, man. I really, really want to diss on Shaker and Spoon.
Oh, wow.
But I can't. Because
Yeah.
they produce things like this, right? It's and this is, again, it's 20% alcohol.
Wow.
Plus the Prosecco, which is what, 8 or 9%. This is something you could. This is
And
nothing.
the lavender is just right. I taste the lavender
Yeah,
coming through, but it's not overpowering. It's just right.
So
balanced.
bizarre because the lavender doesn't come out in the syrup; it
Yeah,
comes out in the
it definitely
cocktail.
comes out in the cocktail.
Like, what the? How did that? I know. I would love to make these. I'm never going to be able to because I don't know how to make this stuff. Right?
Oh, this is yummy.
This is the sad state of the Shaker and Spoon. Is when
Yes.
you find a cocktail that you really like. Most of the time, it's like, oh, I could make that, and this is like, oh, but I can't make that because I don't have that syrup.
Well, but we tried because
We tried,
that was one of my first. Yeah, I think
and Shaker and
yes.
Spoon is there to help you
Yes.
out for a modest fee.
Yes.
You can buy any one of the syrups that they produce. So,
But I want to try. That was one of my first syrup. Getting into syrups was through Shaker and Spoon because I figured yes, I could buy their syrups, but supply issues. If it's
And
popular, it might get out
and
of
things
stock.
like a strawberry syrup. It's
Right.
like,
Yes.
do I,
Right.
as long as strawberries are in stock, do I need to buy this from them, or
Right.
can I grind up some strawberries and put them
Yes.
in with some simple syrup and infuse it? Turns out,
Yes.
yeah, that works.
Well, there was
right?
this one. So there was this one that again, Lovecraft Cocktails helped me with was the citrus green tea grapefruit
Yeah.
concoction. It was like
Yes.
this really
Citrus green tea.
Yeah, it was like this
cocktail.
complicated ingredients and recipe, but I think we got it close. I mean, was
got it
exactly
cl-
it? We got very close.
We didn't get
So-
it. I mean, I don't know how close it was, but
Yeah.
it made a tasty cocktail.
Yes, so-
And bottom line is like, oh, it doesn't match this cocktail that I had, but
Right, but it's close
but this
enough. Yeah.
freaking tasty cocktail. I'm like,
So-
once again, if what you put in the glass is something that you want to drink,
Yeah. Agreed.
then you're done.
Do
You
it.
know, it's like does it need to match this? No, it doesn't need to match anything except your taste buds, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's the bottom
Very
line.
good. Yummy. Sorry, it's going.
All right, so there's our 3 cocktails for the evening. There's the cut on my finger. There's an homage to Tiki Trail DC and the luau that they did. We did a toast to 9/11. So we're gonna wrap it all up so that I can go to bed this evening because I have to be at work tomorrow. I'm gonna drink some water here. Wow, I have a full cocktail and some rum to drink, and I still have to clean up this place before tomorrow morning. So we'll see how things go. But this is Lovecraft Cocktails signing off, telling you to embrace the darkness. I mean the cocktails, and have a great rest of your week. We'll see you around next week when hopefully I will have a little more prep time and be a little less intoxicated. But I don't think the wife will be back yet, so it may be just as chaotic. We'll see. So I'll talk to you all later. Thanks again for tuning in. You make this all worthwhile. And now I'm going to go hit the big red button that says End Live Video. And when I hit that button, I usually am drinking a cocktail. This time I'm just going to drink some rum because why not? It's 9/11. So here we go. Good night, people. Enjoy your evenings. Suck it, Patriots.